welcome back to the Who Are You to Lead Anyway podcast. I'm Cynthia Jamieson, your host and leadership, life, and career growth coach. Welcome to episode 76. And just so you know, I just am in from a 16K run. There's a lot of snow, there's a lot of weather, it's minus 11 here, and I'm training for a half marathon. So, two things that I want to say. First, my throat is a little dry, so I apologize for that because I might need to take a sip of water throughout this episode. And second, I am feeling a mix of emotions recording this because if you are listening in real time, it's tomorrow is January 22nd for me, and that date marks 1 full year of podcasting. So you will be listening the day after this. And what a journey it has been. I am so proud of myself for showing up for an entire year to serve, which of course would not be possible without you. So I have so much gratitude for you that I want to express. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for your feedback, your thoughts, your comments, when I see you in the streets when that's possible, when I see you on Zoom when that's possible. All of those things have been little gifts along the way, and I thank you so much. So today's episode is all about a topic that can feel exciting and daunting at the same time. Leading change. Now, I know there are some of you right now that are or will be leading a change effort for your organization for the first time. You know who you are. And this episode was created just for you. And I will, a quick caveat, because there are so many people right now, organizations are reorganization and there's reorganizing, and there is so much change going on in the world that I think this is just like right on time. And it's always something that we should be mindful of, especially as leaders. So before we get to the heart of things, I want to say that change is not just a constant. It is an opportunity for growth, for innovation, and for progress. And so if you find yourself at the helm of a change initiative, whether by choice or whether by circumstance, I want to say congratulations. I think that's the first time I've ever sang on the podcast. However, it's a year, so who knows what's possible. So this experience is for you and your growth. That is why I am saying congratulations. As a change catalyst, you're stepping into a role or an opportunity that can have profound impact on your team, your organization, and your own leadership journey, and even your community. This will add experiences and skills that you would not otherwise have to your career backpack. Okay? So, first, I want to touch on why leading change is so important. It's the catalyst for evolution. We can see that when we take an opportunity to look back at things. Quite often, the rear view mirror shows us something that we can't see when we're in the moment of it. So we can look back and see the previous changes that have occurred that you've been impacted by in some way, and you can see that evolution. You can see your own growth in that. You can see that there were decisions and choices that you made as a result of that. And so change is how organizations stay relevant. It's how teams adapt. It's how new leaders emerge stronger and more resilient. Now, as a person guiding this transformation, you have a chance to shape the future, which is an incredible opportunity. So I want to invite you to like lean in for a moment, really closely here, because I have something really incredibly powerfully important to tell you. Are you listening? Leading change is about leading people before the change is implemented, not after, which happens more than you think. I'm going to say that again. Leading change is about leading people, period. And the people you are going to lead through a change fall into different camps based on their own attitudes, their own beliefs, and their own responses to change initiatives. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to walk you through the types of camps that people can get into when a change is happening, because I think it'll be really useful for you to understand those camps so that you can then create a plan for yourself on how you are going to lead these people through this change. So You will have the champions who will see the growth and the improvement in any transformation. This is the camp that I come from. I'm always up for all the growth and all the improvement, and typically have put my hand up to be involved in a change. So you're going to have those people. You're also going to have the innovators, the creative thinkers who are active about seeking out and promoting and actively contributing new ideas and solutions. I mean, it could be possible that a change that you're about to lead is as a result of an innovator. Right? Someone within your organization that sees the opportunity, that has a different way of looking at things and can present it to the business to get this change moving and create that growth for the organization. So you're going to have those people. You're also going to have the early adopters. Those folks are open minded and they're willing to take a risk, and they can be incredibly great influencers. Now, John Cotter's work, if you're not familiar with it, I'll link it up in the show notes, on leading change, identifies this particular group of people as crucial for you to have on side if you are leading change. So there is a fabulous video that I'm going to link up in the show notes, but I'll give you the gist of it. So there's this guy at the beach, and he's a lone wolf, and he starts to dance and starts to sing and flail around within the beach. And what's fascinating is you can see that everyone is watching him. Everybody's trying to figure out what it is he's doing. And the early adopter joins him. You get to see that piece. And shortly after that, within a few minutes, there are so many more people dancing. It's a key resource that I provide to any of my clients leading change because it's a really useful metaphor. People get it, they understand it, and it can be useful to kick off a leading change session, which is also great for a laugh and eases some tension around the change. So it's all good. So you will also have the traditionalists. So you might assume these are the people that prefer the status quo. They really don't want to change. They like things as they are. Then you're going to have the skeptics. Those are the people that question, that resist until they are convinced of the benefits to change. So help them understand. Help them understand what is in it for them, the with them. What's in it for me? That's the question they're asking themselves. And unless and until you answer that, they can't hear anything else. They just can't hear anything else. So help them get on board with the change. You're also going to have supporters who are willing to go along to get along. And many of these supporters play roles in the implementation process of the change that you are wanting to execute or being tasked to execute. Think like IT, think HR, systems, processes, training, etc. It could be individuals, it can be departments, organizations, etc. Now, you're also going to have some laggards. These are the folks who are slow to adopt a change. And if change were a car, they would be hanging on to the back bumper, resisting until it's unavoidable. You probably got a visual in your mind as I said that. So I'm always reminded of a former colleague that after a new payroll system was implemented that I was a part of, because again, I'm one of those people that want to be involved with the change. They refused to let go of their blue ledgers and did everything by hand, even though there was an automated report. But for them, this is how they got themselves on board with the change. That and a little bit of coaching, which, of course, in the context, was different at the time, given the time. You're also going to have some change resistors who are uncomfortable with disruption. They feel a loss of control or they feel threatened by the unknown. Okay, like this is real for them. And I'm going to give you some tips later on to help. Lastly, well, actually not lastly, there's two more camps. So you will have the neutral, the folks that are neutral. And I've always found this interesting because they have more of a wait and see approach until they have more information or the change begins to happen, right? So something, it's kind of like, oh yeah, that'll never happen, that'll never happen, that'll never happen. And then it starts to happen and they're like, oh, okay, now I need to decide which side of it, which other camp am I going to be in? And you're also going to have the adaptive leaders, who are the people who possess the skills and the mindset to navigate not only the change, but its complexities. These individuals will excel. And this might be you because you've been identified or chosen to be a catalyst for this work. Now, there's a couple of things I want to say about that because despite the diversity of the perspectives amongst the people in these various camps when it comes to leading change, there are some common underlying themes and principles that unite them. And so I'm going to go through those. The first is a desire for understanding. All individuals, regardless of their stance on change, have a desire for understanding the reasons for and behind the change, the potential impacts on them, and the overall purpose and vision. They want to know, where are we going? Now, I've said this before on the podcast as it relates to individuals, but it's the same for change for an organization. The vision that the organization has must be compelling enough to elicit behavioral change. If it's not, then we just create people going to other camps where they're going to resist, they're going to be skeptical, they're going to ask all questions, they're going to be hanging on to the back bumper of change, right? So this is critical. It has to be really, really super compelling. Otherwise, they're going to be telling their own stories, which will only just slow down the efforts of change that your organization is looking for. The second thing is a need for clear communication. Now, effective and clear communication is crucial for everyone. You know this, you feel this, you experience this yourself. So, whether individuals are enthusiastic supporters, whether they're skeptics, or whether they're resistors, they will all benefit from clear, open, and transparent communication that addresses their concerns and keeps them informed. This is an opportunity to build the skill of storytelling and connect for them the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why, all of those dots, connecting all of those dots for the people that you are leading, which helps them with understanding. It's also an opportunity to be their advocate with the decision makers or the sponsors initiating the change. Now, during last week's episode, where I had Lisa Mitchell interviewing me from several months ago, I talked about the clay layer within the organizations. And the reason this exists is because there are no formal feedback loops and or they don't have clear lines of communication, right? So this is really, really important for you, is to create and be after and ensure this clear communication occurs. And things will be, and you can never communicate enough. You can absolutely not communicate enough, but you can never communicate a change too much. This brings me to the third piece of it, which is concerns for stability and security. Many, many people, regardless of their attitude toward change, share a common concern, which is to have stability, to have security. Listen, there's a reason that they are employees and not entrepreneurs, which isn't good or bad. It's just a fact. They have made a decision to be an employee and to bring their skills and talents and abilities to your organization, to your team, to your workplace. So, of course, they want to feel that their roles are stable and that the organization and the environment will remain stable. So, in order to understand those concerns, what needs to happen is you need to create a safe space for them to put everything on the table. To use another analogy, to put all the cards on the table. This is where some ground rules can be really helpful. And once you've collected that information, consider identifying any patterns and themes. And when I talk about ground rules, that's like what's in and what's out from a conversational perspective, because if you are leading that, you're going to get all the stuff that is not necessarily going to be useful or helpful. And so creating some ground rules together can help you funnel that information in a more productive way. So if you are one of many change catalysts and you have managed a change effort you're leading, there will be patterns and themes that connect across various departments and within the organization as a whole. And typically, although not always, there's someone from communications that is supporting the change. They're doing things like newsletters, they're capturing FAQs, town halls, etc., which connects everything that we've spoken about so far. If those feedback loops and you have the right people, comms involved, just making sure that the questions that get asked of you get answers so that you can go back and give those answers to the people that you are leading. Now, the other area that unites them is this search for meaning and purpose. So, individuals in different camps often seek meaning and purpose in their work. They want to understand how the changes align within the organization's mission, their values, and the larger goals of the team or the company. Listen, change is complex, right? And I could do an entire episode on how to do this. But this is where you can facilitate discussions or activities that allow others to explore and to express their own personal values. And then when you know that, you can demonstrate how those values align with the core values of the organization. Now, the purpose is to show them how the change is in harmony with the shared values and fostering a sense of purpose within them, that they are a part of the change, that their skill set fits in. This is where aligning roles and responsibilities is kind of like everybody's on the bus is going in this direction, these are all the seats, is everybody in the right seat? Right. So there's a lot that can be there's a lot underneath that particular purpose and meaning focus that I could talk about, but I think you get the gist of the idea. The other piece is recognition and acknowledgement. So people everywhere appreciate being recognized and acknowledged for their contributions. Whether they are champions of change, skeptics, or traditionalists, individuals want to feel valued and acknowledged for their efforts and their perspectives. It's just a matter of how they specifically prefer to be recognized or acknowledged. Again, not everybody wants the party hat and the party favors. It's you have to figure out what type of recognition and acknowledgement. Another area where these camps get united is around empathy and understanding. Now, empathy is a universal need. It's a universal need. Everybody needs it. And leaders who show understanding and empathy toward the concerns and challenges faced by the individuals in these various camps can be bridge builders and can create a more inclusive and collaborative environment. Now, understanding in the context of empathy is about putting yourself in their shoes. So, depending where you are right now, this might be a cool thing. If you're in your car, this won't work because safety is first. But if you're anywhere where there is another chair available to you, I would just invite you to physically move seats. And let's use the resistor as an example. So, settle into this other seat and answer this question as them from their perspective. I feel, name the emotion, because, and list the reason. So some examples might be, I feel afraid because this is all I've ever known. I feel worried because people are being laid off and I need my job. It just helps you expand your own empathy for other people and can take you also out of your own mind, right? So this can be a really helpful question and way to take perspective. Another area where these camps are united is a desire for influence. Now, all humans, we all have meaning making, meaning seeking brains. And some individuals want to feel that their opinions and their contributions matter. My guess is you'd like to feel like that. So, leaders who involve team members in decision making processes and give them a sense of influence foster a more engaged and a more committed workforce. Don't you just love the sound of that? We all could use a little bit more of that. I promise you. Another area where it's common is adaptability and learning. So, regardless of the initial stance to the change, individuals may share a common need for adaptability and continuous learning. This is where leaders can promote a growth mindset, emphasizing that change is an opportunity for personal and professional development. And if appropriate, get specific. Give them something specific to look forward to. It could be systems training. It could be a difference in knowledge transfer. It could be anything, but give them something specific so that they can understand how they need to adapt and how they will continually learn. What's in it for them? The last area, I think, yes, the last area is the commitment to organizational success. So ultimately, individuals in different camps may share a commitment to success of the organization or not. Regardless, leaders can leverage common ground by emphasizing how the proposed changes contribute to the long term success and sustainability of the organization. And some organizational change extends into the communities, depending on where you live, right? So I live in a smaller area, and up here, the success of the organizations that are big here that employ a lot of people in a small community, that has huge ripple impacts into the community. So, again, this commitment can be connected to the purpose and meaning that I've talked about earlier. But I can also assure you that recognizing these commonalities helps leaders, helps you find points of connection and build bridges between those diverse perspectives. So it's interesting. It reinforces the idea that despite the different initial reactions to change, there are shared values and aspirations that can be leveraged to create a more cohesive and a more collaborative change environment. Now, I've often thought myself of leading change as something like very akin to navigating grief and the grief cycle. And this can be also a really great tool as individuals transition between these camps based on their understanding, based on their experiences, and based on the way that change is communicated and implemented. It's very common for them to change camps or to change cycles within the context of grief. Sometimes you're feeling acceptance, and the next thing you know, you're right back into the grief stage. So here's a pro tip. If you want to be a successful change leader, you will want to recognize and address the diversity of all of these perspectives, especially because each camp requires a tailored approach for effective engagement. You want everyone to come along for this change, not just some of the people, all of the people. And leading change is not for the faint of heart. It requires vision, it requires resilience, and it requires the ability to navigate through uncharted waters. You might not know all the answers. So I should have said this is a longer than usual episode, but I want to talk about 5 crucial steps that you need to take as a change catalyst. The very first one is to establish the clear vision I talked about earlier. So, clearly articulate the purpose and the vision behind the change. Help your team understand the why and the benefits they will reap. Again, put yourself in their shoes, figure out what's in it for me to get on board with this change. The second step, build a coalition. This is from Cotter's work. Gather key stakeholders and influencers to support the change. Their endorsement will sway opinions and garner acceptance. Trust me. The third step, communicate, communicate, communicate. Again, be transparent and consistent in your communication. Address their concerns one by one if you have to. Celebrate wins, share success stories, and keep everyone informed throughout the entire process right through to the end. Again, you cannot over communicate, but you absolutely can under communicate. The fourth step, empower and involve. Involve your team in the change process. Encourage their input and empower them to take ownership. This builds commitment and minimizes resistance. When everyone knows what they need to do and it's clear versus unclear, you will empower that team. Everybody will be in their own lanes doing what you're paying them well to do. The last step is to anticipate. I want you to think about this. Anticipate and manage resistance. So identify those potential sources of resistance early on and proactively address concerns and be open to feedback. I love Winston Churchill's quote: "Plans are of little importance, but planning is essential." In my experience, the best led change is the change where planning was intentional and deliberate and followed through. So, with that, I want to offer a few questions for you to think about as a change catalyst. The first question is: what is the overarching purpose behind the change? And how can I communicate it effectively to my team? So you might have some questions. There might be some information you need in order to answer this question for yourself and for them. The second question is: who are the key influencers and stakeholders I need to involve in the change effort? And how can I gain their support? So these are the leaders that, like, they have influence. They may not have a title, they may not be named a leader, but they have a following. Those are the people that you're looking for here. Go buy them a coffee. The third question is: how can I foster a culture of open communication with my team during this change process? And this is getting at concepts like the feedback loop, right? Like meeting regularly so people can air their concerns, have them heard. And for you also, if there's something that hasn't been addressed, to be able to, bring that to the next level leadership to get that answer to come back. The fourth question is: what steps can I take to empower my team members and make them active participants in the journey? Right? So it's like, how do I share the load of what we need to do here? How can I get them on board and have them be active in the change? Maybe they're hearing something from someone on the night shift who you haven't had the time or opportunity to go speak with yet. That could be really important. All right. The last question is: in what ways can I anticipate and address potential sources of resistance from individuals or the existing organization culture? So remember, leading change is not, it is a journey, it is not a destination. Because as soon as you get there, there's another change, right? Like that's the other thing. So I invite you to embrace the challenges, learn from the process, and watch as your leadership and your organization transform for the better. I hope this was useful. In my opinion, it feels like one of the most valuable episodes that I've done so far, which was my intentional gift to you. So if you happen to have 2 minutes, you would make my absolute day if you left a rating and review. And of course, if you want my support, let's work together, because as you go about doing these things, all sorts of things will come up. You're going to have thoughts and feelings and beliefs and all these sorts of things that I can help you sort through. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. And I am so looking forward to talking to you next week. Have a great week. Take care. Goodbye. Hey there, it's Cynthia. Thanks for being a part of the Who Are You to Lead Anyway journey. Join my newsletter for exclusive updates and resources. Get a complimentary self-discovery workbook at www.cynthiajamiesoncoach.ca. Your feedback shapes this show, so share your thoughts. And if you love the podcast, help spread the word. Thanks for investing in your leadership growth. Let's thrive together.